Hi, Scarlett. Your mom said you wanted to know how we make water on board the boat. Now, what we're doing when we're making water is actually turning salt water from the ocean into water that we can use to drink, do laundry, cook, and have showers. So in order to do that, we use what's called a reverse osmosis water maker. Now, osmosis describes a process in which water or some other form of liquid migrates through cell membranes or some form of a membrane from the hypotonic solution, where there is less dissolved solutes in the water, like salt or other minerals, into a hypertonic solution, like salt water. And basically that means there's more dissolved solids in it. It can be salt or magnesium or other forms of minerals. Now, the best way to illustrate it is with raisins. I've taken 3 raisins and I've put it into the hypotonic solution or the regular drinking water. If I leave those raisins overnight, the hypotonic solution is going to move from outside the raisins to inside the raisins until it's as equal as it can be given the size of the raisins. Now, when you look at them the next day, those same raisins will be plump and an awful lot fatter than they were when they started. Now, to illustrate it again, if you take the raisins and put them in the salt water, the osmosis process is going to work again, because now inside the raisins is the hypotonic solution, the less dissolved solutes, and that's going to move from the raisins out to the salt water where there's more dissolved solutes. So it's the hypertonic solution. And that is osmosis. In reverse osmosis, we actually have to reverse the natural process of osmosis. And to do that, we have to introduce a high pressure pump in order to force the hypertonic solution through to the hypotonic solution. Now, on board the boat, we do the whole process with a series of pumps and filters and, of course, the reverse osmosis membrane. So if you take, to start with, we have to draw the salt water or the hypertonic solution out of the ocean, and it goes through a coarse filter first, which removes the larger items like seaweed or leaves or whatever that may be floating in the water. It goes through that pump through 2 fine filters, a 20 micron and a 5 micron, and that removes all the small particles that are in the water, like algae and things like that could damage the membrane when it goes through there. From the filter, it goes into the high pressure pump and into the pressure vessel which surrounds the osmosis membrane. Now, that pressure is set at 800 pounds per square inch, which then forces, in a reverse osmosis process, the hypertonic solution through to the inside, which become the hypotonic solution. And from there, it goes out. We make 20 gallons an hour through a flow meter and into our fresh tank. Now, not all the water goes through the membrane, and some of it has to go out through a hose and back into the ocean, and that's what we call the brine. Now, that's basically how it works. And the really cool thing about it is what's on our boat is the same process, just smaller, that is happening all over the world where they are making fresh drinking water from salt water, like in Israel, which has the largest reverse osmosis drinking water system in the world. So you can just imagine how big that would have to be. And they'd make an awful lot more than 20 gallons an hour. Okay, now we're going to watch the real thing. So first of all, we're pumping the water out of the ocean and through this low pressure and the first coarse filter. From there, the water goes up. The line filter goes over 20 minutes. If you look at the gauge, you'll see we're still at a low pressure level. And from there, it's over through to the high pressure pump. Now we follow
osmosis, the reverse osmosis membrane. And if we look at the gauge, we see here that we're just a little over 800 pounds per square inch. From there, the water is going to go through the flow meter. And if you look at it, you see we're making a little over 20 gallons per hour of fresh water. Now water is going to go out of the green hose into the tank. This clear hose that we're following out right now contains the wastewater and the brine water that we're going to pump back into the ocean. When we're finished, we have to ensure that we actually have made fresh water. We started out with salt water at 8,720 parts per million, and when we were finished, we had fresh water at 234 parts per million, well within the World Health Organization standard of 500 parts per million. Now you know how we make fresh water.